we are interviewing Henry Vertrees. Mr. Vertrees was born on December 12, 1914, and fought in World War II. The interviewers today are myself, Caitlin Schultz, Courtney Kaufman, and Kaylee Sawyer. Taylor Brinkman will be operating behind the scenes. We are all students in Advanced Placement U.S. History at PTHS.
Good morning, Mr. Vertrees.
Good morning.
Were you drafted or enlisted to fight in World War II?
I was drafted.
You were drafted. How did you feel about the draft? Were you in favor of it?
Oh, yes,
Yes.
sure.
Okay, what were your most memorable experiences from boot camp or training for the war?
Boot camp. I didn't.
Did you have to train at all? Or did you just go
Oh,
straight
yes.
there?
Sure, we trained.
And what did you do?
Well, that's kind of hard to tell. What did I do? Let's see, I've written some stuff down here. See if it'll help me out.
Alright, we'll skip that question for now.
Yeah, let's do this.
We'll come back.
Something else.
Where were you stationed throughout World War II?
Okay, now I'll get that written down here. I think I should have. World War II. I was stationed in thought I had it written down.
Or do you know what
I
country?
was drafted.
Yeah.
I was drafted. And I was stationed all over for different places.
In Europe and
Yes,
in Europe?
in Europe, just in Europe.
Just in Europe?
And what was your assignment or job when you got to Europe? What did you take part in?
Like,
What in the army? I was in the army.
in the army?
Yeah. And maybe I've got something down there. I was drafted. I was drafted in the army.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that.
Yeah. And
Okay. Now, what else might I tell you?
Tell us about your most
World War II. World War II. And I served in Europe. And the rank of sergeant.
Oh,
Now, does that help you any?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Did you ever face combat in the war?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. All the times. Wasn't funny either.
I bet it wasn't.
Dangerous. Something else you got, want to ask me?
Tell us about your most memorable experiences from war.
Okay. The shelling at Omaha Beach. That's where we were in a waiting there to, hard for me to tell you these things. But I was in a boat on the ocean, and they shelling us from shore. And we were anchored, we couldn't move. And finally they came by, and somebody came by and told them that we were anchored, we couldn't move. So finally they got that going. Now, what else can I tell you?
How did you feel when you liberated that concentration camp?
Yes, I was there.
Which
And I watched them, what they did.
Which concentration camp was it? Do you remember?
Oh my. Concentration camp. I should know that. Oh, do you know what it is? I would know it in an instant, and I would any
Was it
other time.
Auschwitz?
Huh?
Auschwitz?
Auschwitz. No, I was
No.
not in Auschwitz.
It's in the one I've heard of.
I was in another one. I was there. Well, let me tell you a little bit about it. We were stationed right there, and about 2 miles away were all these people, these men that were captured. And they were dead men laying around, piled up, and some of them were still alive. They were in bad shape. And so the day I was there, we were checking them out. We were looking, I could see what was going on. But it wasn't my job to do, but yet we were watching. And the poor people, they were just starving to death. And the weather was nasty. And they just, but at that time, then we were relieving them. And I wasn't one of them, but I watched them. They took them and fed them. And that's all I knew about it. Because I left right away after that.
It's very interesting.
What role did you play during the Battle of the Bulge?
The Battle of the Bulge. That was a humdinger. Yeah. Well, the Battle of the Bulge. That was the biggest thing there was that I was wanted. It was in the winter time. And it was cold. We were laying out there, you know, in the snow and doing the best we could. And the Battle of the Bulge, it was, oh my goodness. I just don't know how to tell you what to say about it. But the people were shooting all around. I was lucky enough, I got out of that. Is there something else I can tell you?
Sure. What was the impact of D-Day? And how does it feel to know that you were a part of it?
D-Day, that was the beginning of it, you know. And, I was there. And it's hard for me to tell you, just surely I could do better than that. But D-Day, that was the day. That's all there is to it. That was the day, D-Day. That's the day that we
No,
had
Beach.
it. In the army.
Did you ever receive any awards or citations? No.
Was there anything you had or did as a symbol of good luck?
No. I wouldn't know about that.
In what ways did you stay in touch with your family and loved ones while you were sent off to Europe? Did you write letters?
Yes, yes. I wrote to my wife every day, and my wife wrote to me every day. So that's the way that happened.
How long did it take to get those letters?
A long time,
Yeah.
sometimes, and other times they would come in a hurry. But usually it took, a month to get a letter, at least a month.
Do you remember any particularly unusual or funny events that happened while you were in the Army?
Yes. I just happened to think of this the other day. After the war was over, I was still in Europe for 6 months. And we just went all over, so many different places. We didn't really have anything we had to do. But anyway, one day we moved into this place, and they said, well, the first thing they did, see, we still had our rifles, still carrying our rifles. And they told us to put them down behind under our feet, our rifles. We're going to have some kind of a game or something. So okay, so we were waiting, and here comes a man with a dressed up, you know, and he said, we're going to have a party or something like that. And he said, I have, in my pocket, I have a handful of something. I forget what he said. That's fine, I guess. I have a handful of stuff that would do anything, you know. And he said, when I scatter this over the land, over the place, something strange is going to happen. So he no more than got that out of his mouth, and there's about 20 people jumped ahead over the people in front of them.
Wow.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow.
So they went back and sat down in their chair again, and pretty soon it happened again. And that was kind of strange. I couldn't understand that.
Yeah.
I'd say.
So one was an officer, and he jumped over their head 2 different times. So everybody came back and sat down, and he did too. But away he goes again. And I thought, well, no, this is crazy. I don't understand this. So it got me worried. I wasn't going. I didn't want to do that. So I said, I held under my breath. I said to myself, how old are you? I thought he was phony. I said, I didn't say this out loud. I said to myself, how old are you? How old are you? How old are you? And he was busy talking, and he stopped, and he said, I'm 42 years old. And then he went back to work. Now you explain that to me, if you will, please. And I was afraid of him. Actually, I was afraid of him.
He sounds,
It's ridiculous, wasn't it? Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy? You ever hear something like that? Okay. So there was a lot of soldiers up on the balcony, you know, and they didn't know what they were doing because they were messed up too, like I was. So he had two chairs, and they were sitting in these chairs. He and another man. 2 men were sitting in those chairs, and they said, we're going to show something strange or different anyway. And one of them was Mary, and the other was John. And this is so silly that so John, you take Mary for a ride. And they were all messed up. They didn't know what was going on. So to get in the car, and there's no car there. He goes down, he acts like he's going down the road, and he stopped, and they made love, you know, ridiculous. They didn't make love, of course, but they were sitting there hugging and kissing, and they didn't know what they were doing.
so it's like a hypnotist kind of
Yeah.
position.
Right.
Right.
So that stopped later on, and just different crazy things like that. Now this was not like the Army, you know, but it was something to do.
Yeah.
The war was over.
Do you recall the the day your service ended and how you felt?
Well, I can't tell you when it finished. Oh yeah, I was glad it was over, glad to be going home. Cause it was a dangerous place to be.
What did you think of your officers and fellow soldiers?
My fellow soldiers were the finest men I have ever known. They were wonderful. And I think of that today. And I still know some of them. Most of them are dead. Really, they are. Very few of us alive. And every day there's more dying. And gee, there's so many of us over there, you know, that anything else?
Along with that, did you make any close friends during your time of
Oh,
service?
yes, absolutely. And today I still have my friends. One of my better friends died recently. And another one just a month or so ago, he had to have his leg amputated. And he's a real good friend of mine. I go see him, he comes to see me.
How did your services and experiences affect your life?
Oh my goodness, it made all the difference in the world. The way I feel now about things and what really happened. It was terrible. The Battle of the Bulge, it was snow on, and we had this, no place to go, no place to sleep. You lay down in the snow. Just imagine that.
Is there anything you would like to include in this documentary that we have not already covered?
I beg your pardon?
Is there anything you'd like to say before we end the documentary?
Well, I wish I could have done better. I wish I could have told you a lot more things. But I haven't been able to do a very good job. Because when you get in a place like this, you can't think of things, you know? I know you, don't I?
I don't know.
I know your parents then.
Possibly.
Okay. You look like your mom. This one, of course, I don't think very well.
Thank you, Mr. Vertrees, for coming.
I wish I
helping
could
us
have
out.
told you, I wish I could have done a better job.
You
but
did
I
good.
just, many things to think of.
We really appreciate you
Yeah.
coming.
Beg pardon?
We really appreciate you coming.
Well, is there anything else I can tell you? You think of anything else? I've written some stuff down here because, would you want to look at this scribbling?
You can tell the camera you're scribbling.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forget you over there. These pretty girls. You couldn't blame me, could you? Okay. Now this, see, they suggested that we write stuff down.
Yeah.
The war, World War II, yeah, and war in a branch of service, World War II. And the rank, I was a sergeant. Where did I serve? In Europe. What war he was serving during World War II? I just told you. Huh. Were you drafted or did you enlist? I was drafted. Were you living at the time? Pontiac, Illinois. Do you recall your first days in service? Yes. What wars did you serve in? World War II. Do you remember arriving and what was it like? Yeah, I remembered it. Of course I Were there many casualties in your unit? Oh yes, many, many of them. Thousands of them. Really? Okay. Tell me about the most, about a couple of your most memorial experiences. That was the Battle of the Bulge and the shelling on Omaha Beach. And we were in a real flimsy thing out on the beach, you know, and they were shelling us, and we couldn't move. I told you that a while ago.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
couldn't move. We couldn't move. And finally, we got off, and then we went to Omaha, to Utah Beach. See, I was at Omaha at first, and because they were shelling us there, then we went to Utah Beach. And Utah Beach was not near as bad as Omaha Beach.
What was the hardest part about being away from your family for so long?
I was married, and that was terrible. Of course, she wrote to me every day, and I wrote to her, and that helped some. But remember, I was over there for 2 years.
That's a long time.
That's a long time. And a lot of people lost their husbands and wives because of that. And many thousands were killed. How do you stay in touch with your families? By letters. What was the food like? You ate what was there. That's what it was like.